Hi everyone, Wolf Branch Homestead here, and today we're going to be doing another Homestead book review for you all. Before we get started, we have a little bit of blurry and fogginess kind of showing up on the camera here and there because it is so humid out after it just rained, so apologies for that. And I'll explain to you a little bit later while we're on this particular little trail here to do our video. I'm particularly excited to share this book because of how meaningful it has become to me already. This book was actually just published recently and released on June 3rd, 2025, so I'm very excited to share one of the first glimpses and reviews of it for you all. Today we're having a look at a book called Honoring Our Animals, 365 Meditations for Healing After Pet Loss by author Beth Bigler. There are so many of you here on the channel that are animal lovers, and I hope learning about this book can benefit you in the future if you ever need this type of resource. Firstly, before we get into it, please bear with me as I give a little bit of background on the author and also my experiences leading up to reading this. I'll show you again our book here, the front and the back of it. We'll talk a little bit more and then we'll get into the book. So here's our book. Absolutely beautiful. Here's the back. So, about our author. Beth is a pet loss grief counselor who not only offers her services to those struggling with this subject, but who has been offering helpful and supportive posts on social media as well. I first found her page on Instagram in 2023 after losing our beloved cattle dog Dixie, and immediately began to follow her work there. Now, I love animals, and I've always felt sadness over the loss of them, but losing my soul dog was the hardest grief I had felt to this point. It felt like this hole had been ripped into my heart, and a literal piece of my spirit was gone. There was something so different about the way we connected. She was always in tune with my emotions, seemingly feeling what I did and often mimicking it. She would match my most productive and hyper days, while also being able to feel the times that I was sad and sit quietly alongside me. We did so much together, and she was a big part of our lives at the homestead. Not only was she extremely sweet with people, but with other animals too. And she was there to help raise Yusuke the goat during the final months of her life. Her wonderful personality and loving dedication contributed to just how hard it was to figure out how I would ever find a break in the tears. I do not often talk about things that are too personal, but I want to share this in case it can benefit someone else who may have experienced the same thing. I grew up around animals and befriended everything from horses to barn cats, goats to chickens, and many good canine companions as well. Because of the way I grew up, however, I found that they were not just animals to me, but family. They were there for me, comforted me, and in their own way supported me. It may seem difficult to understand if you've not been in the same situation, but for me the animals became more family than biological family was. When one of them would pass, it would break my heart, especially as a child just starting to navigate what loss was. My biological family was quite unsupportive of my emotions, and oftentimes quite cruel in the things they would say, and so I ended up growing up and going into adulthood with this mentality that grief for an animal was nonsensical in a way. I would really try to stifle any feelings I had from that point on, embarrassed if I did ever get upset. So when I lost Dixie, the best animal friend I had ever known, I could not believe that I had broken down in quite the way that I had, and I had no idea how to process it. Fast forward to finding the Honoring Our Animals community shortly after losing her, and I felt immediately seen and welcomed. I felt that this whole group of people knew exactly how I felt, and that it was normal for me to feel the way that I was. Beth's posts, insights, and replies were never pressuring to sell a service or a product the way some places may be. She's been genuinely caring the whole way. while she does have ways to support her, like working directly with her, or the site Buy Me a Coffee, where you can tip for her work, I found that she does not gatekeep her wisdom on the subject. She even has monthly memorial services that honor the animal friends of those submitted on live streams. The way she's shown such dedication and compassion to those who need it during pet loss grief in the 2 years that I've been following her work is commendable. And because of that, when I learned that she would be publishing this book, I really looked forward to showing my support by purchasing a copy. I was very excited to get a sneak peek of the book at her live stream release party recently and knew it would be worth ordering. The book can be ordered through a variety of retailers, but at the time of making this video, I've ordered ours online through Amazon. I'll include a helpful link in the description for you to find a copy for yourself there. Our book arrived in great time, and I picked it up from our mailbox on June the 6th, opening the package with care. I noticed firstly how the hardback book is colored. Soft yellow, orange, blues, white on the front. There's something peaceful and welcoming about this color scheme. The book is not too bulky and just the right size for a book of this type. It could easily be set on the bedside table for nightly reading or placed in a bag to carry with you through the day to reference as you need it. On the back, we see a small summary of what can be found inside. Honor your animal soulmate by living your best life. The grief felt over the loss of an animal companion is profound and life-altering. These 365 meditations offer practical coping strategies, foster self-compassion, inspire self-discovery, and honor your unique journey. May these words bring courage, hope, and support for your next steps as you navigate through challenges and evolve the bond you share with your beloved. Inside, we have the contents of the book pointing you to its introduction, how to use the book, each month organized here, followed by some very helpful sections in the back, including the index, which may be my favorite feature. The introduction welcomes you into the book, and in particular, I enjoyed this section of it here. Welcoming these meditations into your life is a powerful and courageous act of honoring your beloved and yourself as you continue to grieve. May these words feel like true friends who walk beside you, encouraging your next best step as you integrate your beloved's transition into your life. Thank you for taking care of yourself and your beloved by supporting your grief. You are not alone. You're introduced to some of the terminology of the book here already under how to use this book. You will notice I use specific terms throughout the book to talk about grief, such as beloved instead of pet, transition instead of death, and guardian instead of pet owner. You may also notice that I often refer to our current relationship with our beloveds in the present tense. This is because I see our bond as ongoing instead of in the past. I like how she mentions the bond being ongoing here, because after losing Dixie, I did still find myself talking to her daily and telling her how things were going. I sat often by the place she was buried, just catching up and thanking her for what a wonderful dog she was. I carried forward a lot of the lessons that I learned from her life and used her memory to inspire me. The author's language in writing the book and talking about our beloved animal friends feels comforting to a grieving heart, with more sensitive wording that does not feel as harsh as we may be used to hearing when it comes to loss. While there are meditations and prompts or activities for every day of the year, you can really take in the book in whatever way feels right to you. You're able to read along daily, matching what particular calendar day of the year it is to the book's days. You may choose to read through quite a bit in one sitting, taking in as many of the pages as you can, or in another very helpful way, you can reference the index at the back of the book to pinpoint a specific subject or emotion you may want to touch on. So let's go back to the index here, and I'll show you what I mean. For instance, one that has bothered me was guilt. And we see quite a few different page numbers to reference here about that particular feeling. We will visit page 67 by referencing the index and then take some time to go through today's date and also a few key dates that mean a lot to me as well. So in looking up the feeling of guilt, we were led to page 67, and we're going to visit April 8th. Self-forgiveness can soften the rough edges of regret and self-blame. Mistakes can be teachers, guiding us towards growth. Forgiveness is an open door inviting you to be gentle with yourself. Embrace this chance to show yourself the kindness you give to others. You deserve it. Invitation. Take a deep breath, place your hand over your heart, and acknowledge any mistakes or regrets without judgment. Then, gently tell yourself, I forgive you. You were doing the best you could with the timing, knowledge, and love that you had. This is a very good day to read if you've been struggling with guilt, having a difficult time forgiving yourself, blaming yourself after a loss. Many of these prompts help you not only to move with your grief, as the author puts it, but to also put some focus on being kinder to yourself. I had so many questions running through my mind after Dixie passed that made me feel guilt. Why didn't we spend more time together? Why didn't I give her this? And I realize now that I was doing the best I could with the time and resources I had, and I've learned to reflect more on the things we did do together and not the what ifs so much. I've also channeled a lot of those questions and thoughts into a mental effort to do better with our current animals and to do more for them. Her life will continually be a lesson for me, alongside having so many great memories to go back to of the time she was with us. And speaking of our sweet healer, I want to reference to a page that means a lot to me. I've already read over it a few times, but I want to go back there now and share. June 27th will mark 2 years since she passed, and I know the day will be difficult, so I go back to that important date often. I can flip through our pages here. And her date is on page 112. June 27th. Think about the strengths within your support network. Some friends plan thrilling outings while others excel at practical tasks like cooking or folding laundry. Perhaps a buddy of your beloved would enjoy illustrating a custom paint-by-number with you or crafting a scrapbook. Recognizing each person's unique abilities and capacities allows you to seek support that truly meets your needs and provides opportunities for your loved one to shine. Invitation. Identify the attributes of your village and request the specific care you desire, whether it's a fun distraction, logistical help, or a listening ear. I love this really points out to having a support network around you of people who care and understand you. Having a group of people around you, such as family or friends, that can help you during these times is so special. I'm very fortunate that in particular my husband has been by my side. I know it must have been difficult for him to see the way that I broke down, but along the way he's been able to listen to what I have to say and help me find positives in the time with our sweet dog. If I've ever felt guilt, he helps me get focused on the things we did achieve and also encourages me to use that to be a better person in the future. I'm so glad that he's my village of support. I want to visit now the day October 9th. This day marks the transition of a special cat named Munchie, who was only with us for 4 months but left a big impact on our hearts. To make a long story short, this elderly cat arrived to the homestead malnourished and anxious just 2 weeks before we lost Dixie. I like to say sometimes that the universe has a way of sending us one in need when it's time to say goodbye for now to another. I think if I had not had him to care for during this time, my grief would have been worse than it already was. We spent the next month slowly getting him back to eating right and gaining some weight. There was still a lot of damage there clearly to his body from outdoor life and age, but he was a good spirit. He made himself right at home, loving to trot with us down to the wood shop and see how it was coming along when it was being built up. He would have loved being in there now, I'm sure. He used to beg to be put up on the counter so he could supervise. He had his own little room inside, but he still always wanted to be with you. My favorite quirk about him was that I would lift his front legs up and make a kiss sound to him, and he would return the gesture with a big headbutt and loud purrs. He even stepped up in the role of caring for little baby Yusuke. Dixie was able to watch over our bottle baby goat until he was big enough to go outside, and then Munchie became a watchful eye to look out for him while he grazed in the yard. He was a wonderful cat whose resting place is now outside the shop, so we always still talk to him when we're out there and say, "Hey, Munch," while we go by. I want to go ahead and read the section for October 9th now for him. The sun's going down fast now, so we're trying to go with what little light we have, but it's the coolest part of the day almost, so we're doing this when we can sit outside and enjoy it and hear the cicadas in the background. And also this trail right here. Used to love walking this with Dixie. So for her friend, we're going to read October 9th. So here's Munchie's date. October 9th. Facing criticism can feel like defending a sandcastle from the tide. Criticism can sting, especially regarding your grief choices, expressions, and timeline. Remember, true support nurtures, not diminishes. If unwelcome comments arise, remind yourself that their words don't define your journey. Seek advice from those you trust, not from those who don't understand your heart. Invitation. Identify who truly supports you and lean into their kindness when you need it most. This one I've not actually read before, and it resonates a lot with me. Like I mentioned, my biological family was really unsupportive of feeling anything for the loss of an animal. I can still remember losing my childhood cat. He passed when I was still young, but to me he was always like a brother because we did everything together. But when I cried over the way he was suffering towards the end, watching my feline friend have such a hard time, I was told that I was crying for attention and that my tears were selfish because of that. Don't let people like that dictate how you process your grief. Like this says, true support nurtures you, so it is important to have someone like that in your life. Think about a partner or a family member or a good friend that can be there for you in a time like that. I want to go briefly to the glossary at the back for one last feature and point out wording used by the author. In particular, I want to focus on the term move with. At the back here we have our grief feelings wheel and our grieving guardian glossary. As I mentioned, I want to focus here on the section that says move with. I say move with our grief as opposed to the idea of moving on or even moving through. While we certainly are never finished grieving, we can feel relief from some of the acute early grief symptoms and emotions we feel. There is not a destination to move to, move from, or move through to. Grief is a part of us forever, and we work to adjust to and integrate it into our lives as we and our relationships with our beloveds continue to evolve. If you've ever been through loss, as I'm sure many of us have, there can be this pressure to just move on, and one day you'll feel better and get over it. How harsh does it sound, though, to say moving on? There's this feeling I associate with those words, that you are going on with your life and forgetting someone, person or animal, was ever a part of that life. I think the terminology of moving with grief feels so much nicer because we are not forgetting about them. We are just learning how to navigate our feelings and acknowledge them in a way that guides us forward towards some brighter days where they're still in our memories and hearts and daily lives, but the grief is more manageable and not as difficult. This book is a really good resource, and I do recommend it from personal experience, not only reading the book, but having these feelings after losing a beloved animal friend as well. Beth Bigler's experiences, not only with her own losses of dear cats Arnie and Zelda, but from years of helping others on this journey, contribute to a book that has been written with care to support the reader through these times. I think the book will really be beneficial for people, not just those who have experienced the loss of an animal companion, but for those who may be anticipating it with an older or ill animal now. Even if your best friend is younger and in good health, which they hopefully will be for many, many more years to come, this book will be there when you need it on your shelf. You may even pick it up and reflect on animals from your past, or gain more appreciation for the time you have now with the ones in your lives. If you know someone going through pet loss currently or in recent times, this would be a thoughtful gift. Sometimes we don't quite know what to say when someone's hurting, and I hope the gesture of passing this book to someone who could use it would be helpful. Remember, as we learned in some of those pages we read earlier, to be supportive to those who are grieving. Being a good listener really is part of that. Just being present for someone when they need kindness. The cicadas are just chatting away in the background here. Another thing I really hope to see with this book is for veterinary clinics to invest in it. I worked for a few years at veterinarian offices, and I cannot count how many times the lights would be turned off in the hallways for those difficult appointments. Afterwards, we had little rainbow bridge cards that everyone in the clinic would sign to show their sympathy to the family. Sometimes the patients were new, and we would sign our names and still let them know they were in our thoughts. Other times, we knew the people and their animal friends very well. We groomed them, boarded them, gave them pets when they were at yearly appointments. The card would be just full of kind words. In either case, the people were shown compassion and knew that they were seen after these difficult visits. This book would be an even more meaningful gift to the family, in my opinion, with ample open space in the front and back of the book to possibly be signed by the staff. I think in the world today, there's such a loss of personal connection and genuine kindness. What if we made room for more of that? Don't we often return to places that we've had good experiences at? I really believe that if vet clinics were to make the investment in something like this for their clients, they will make caring connections that lead to return customers. Now, I know that these appointments are not good experiences, but I think if the clinics show that kind of compassion and caring, that it will make a good impression. I say this from a business perspective. If you take honest care of a client, you'll have a repeat one. I hope that clinics will also utilize this book to look out for those who choose their services, the good ones and the tough ones. Another idea would be to keep a copy of this book in the clinic for staff to read as they need it. Even an animal shelter or rescue can keep this on hand or gift it to employees. From prior experience in animal sheltering, you can get burnout very easily once you start to see some of the treatment animals receive out there, especially, to put it lightly, those who are a part of all open admission shelters and seeing what they have to see and be a part of sometimes every single day. There are so many aspects of the book that teach for your self-care and compassion to yourself. I could see it being a benefit to them as well. I hope this brief look into the book has been helpful for someone out there, whether you're considering purchasing the book or maybe you haven't heard of it but may now consider purchasing it. We visited a lot of the features in this book up close and shown some of the pages and readings that mean a great deal for us personally. Hopefully you will be able to pick up a copy for yourself now and find some favorite and meaningful pages for yourself. Please remember that mental health is a serious topic, and if you need more help, please do reach out to someone who is trained on the subject. Again, we hope that this has been a helpful review for you all, and as always, until the next video or live stream, take care.